Now looking at this number of hours that students are studying, so what if someone is studying for 3.1 or 3.2 hours? In this case, to which class does he belong? 3.1 will be rounded to 3, so he belongs to this class. 3.4 will be also rounded to 3, but 3.5, which means 3.5 hours, will be rounded to 4, so 3.5 hours will be rounded to here, so he belongs to this class. So in this case, the actual boundaries of the time, because the number of hours actually is a continuous variable and can be any value. But regardless of this, I would like to know the actual boundary between classes. Where is the point that separates between this class and this class? Obviously, the boundary between the 3 and the 4 is halfway, which is 3.5. So this way we start dividing another, measure for the class, which is class boundaries, or class boundaries. So we have upper boundary and lower boundary. So we can write here boundaries. Okay. So in this case, I have a halfway between this class, which end at 3, and the next one start at 4. So between them there is 3.5. So that means the upper boundary here is 3.5, halfway. And similarly, the upper boundary here for the next one will be between 6 and 7, so it will be 6.5. The same way, when we add, halfway between this same exact amount that you add 0.5, then it means that the lower boundary of the first class should be also subtract 0.5. So if you add here 0.5, you should subtract here 0.5. So that means the lower boundary here is also going to be just 0.5. Same thing here. The lower boundary for this is already subtract 0.5, which is 3.5, which is obvious because, this number has to be exactly the same as this, because this is it's the boundary between the two classes. It's just like something halfway between the two classes. It's just the separating point between the end here and the beginning here. So this is 3.5. So obviously this end at 3.5 and this start at 3.5. In fact, this end just before 3.5, which means if anyone study for 3.5 hours exactly, he will actually just belong here. He will actually just belong here. So that just means just before 3.5. That means actually, if you want to know the meaning of this, that means less than 3.5, because 3.5 itself will come here. Anyway, I hope you got the idea of the boundaries. So here there will be 6.5 till 9.5. You do that quickly. It's 9.5 till 12.5, and this is 12.5 till 15.5. So these are the class boundaries for each class. So if the question asks you what is the class boundary for the second class, well, here is the second class, and here is the class boundary for the second class. And if the question asks you what is the class boundary for the last class, here is the last class, and here is the class boundaries for the last class.